Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nur Shastiana binti Muhammad Azmali. I'm from A4AS1202A. Today, I will present my case study. The topic is Chicago Cyanide murders that related to cellular respiration. So, this case study is about the detrimental effect of cyanide to human cellular respiration. As we know, formaldehyde is a chemical name for cyanide that is one of the rapidly acting poisons with a chemical formula Cn-. It consists of one nitrogen atom and one carbon atom connected to each other with a triple bond. Cyanide is found in surprising place such as food in lower concentration, for example lima beans, almonds, soy and spinach. Furthermore, cyanide can exist as a gas, hydrogen cyanide, a salt, potassium cyanide. In industrial, cyanide has been used in the extraction of gold and silver ores. And why cyanide is dangerous? Because it can kill 1 in 3 minutes. Its exposure will affect oxygen intake and energy production in a body. Moreover, it's related to electron transport chain in mitochondria. So this is the molecular structure of cyanide in 3D and 2D structure. So in this case, my problem statement is during the investigate in the Chicago were too slow to identify the cause of death, so it affected to other people who bought the medicine that had been tampered by cyanide. Second, I need to recall the knowledge of function of the organ, especially in mitochondria of cell. Third, the information given is very complicated to understand, which is the main cause of death is cyanide poison or die of hypoxia in Chicago. So we move to discussion, and we know that cellular respiration is a complex process in which food molecules or organic molecules broken down to harvest chemical energy and stored in the chemical in the form of ATP. So the use of oxygen to help harvest energy from glucose and produce the carbon dioxide in the process. So cellular respiration consists of 4 stages, which is start from glycolysis, linkation, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. Furthermore, glycolysis occurs the splitting of sugar of breakdown a glucose into 2 molecules of pyruvate. It will produce ATP and electron carrier, which is NADH. Inoxidation of pyruvate will produce acetyl-CoA as starting molecules in a Krebs cycle. NADH and FADH2 generated in the Krebs cycle. Then the Krebs cycle provides hydrogen, or we call that as a proton, for electron transport chain for synthesis ATP. The last stage in aerobic metabolism in electron transport chain will synthesize ATP through the ATP synthase. Why is cyanide a toxic substance? Cyanide will block the use of oxygen on the body cell. Moreover, it becomes more harmful to the heart and brain because there is a lot of oxygen used in the brain and heart. A person who has been poisoned will experience the same symptoms before that. So they may experience weakness, dizziness, sleepiness, headache and vomiting, confused and disorientation, and also difficult to speak. It may cause the victim to experience the rapid breathing and shortness of breath. In physical properties, cyanide can be very toxic by skin absorption, ingestion, and inhalation of hydrogen cyanide from the decomposition of the material. Let's move to question 1. Recall that the mitochondrion is sometimes called the powerhouse of the cell. What does this mean? Why is the mitochondria is important? So this is the answer. Mitochondria is the organelle that are found in cytoplasm in eukaryote cells. However, mitochondria is a responsible organelle to generate energy in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, to do work in the cells. It's for cells to use in development, reproduction, and growth. The process that occur in the mitochondrion are called substrate level phosphorylation and oxidative phosphorylation involved in cellular respiration. Furthermore, the inner membrane has highly folded surface that are called cristae. So cristae has large surface area to increase the capacity of mitochondria to produce large amount of energy, which is ATP. The cells, like a muscle cell, brain cell, liver cell, have a lot of energy in order to do their work, such as muscle contraction, control of body temperature, production of enzyme and hormones, and transmission of impulse. On the other hand, having a large surface area of cristae allows to pack a greater electron transport chain and also ATP synthase into the mitochondria. Let's move. This is a mitochondria in animal cells, which is mitochondria consists of cristae. Also, I have outer membrane, inner membrane. Okay. Let's move to question 2. What is the relationship between ETC and oxygen? First, the relationship between ATP and oxygen is that electron transport chain let the cytochrome C pass the electron to its final electron acceptor, which is oxygen in aerobic respiration. However, the electron transport chain is totally depending on the oxygen to act as the final electron acceptor. If there is no oxygen is present, NADH and FADH2 could not pass their electron to the electron transport chain. Thus, NADH, NAD- and FAD will not be regenerated as an electron carrier. The electron will be accepted by the oxygen from complex 4, which is the cytochrome C oxidase, then is split into water in metric space. According to Fehje 2017, the hydrogen ions are pumped into intramembrane space, diffuse back into mitochondrial matrix, follow the gradient concentration and synthesis ATP. For question 3, cyanide is extremely fast-acting poison. In fact, it was developed as a suicide pill called L-pill during World War II so that British and American spies could avoid being captured alive. So given what you know about ATP and cellular respiration, explain why cyanide is so fast-acting. Firstly, poison like cyanide inhibit one of the enzymes in the electron transport chain and block the normal activity of the cytochrome C. The electron cannot be transported to oxygen because cyanide binds tightly to the cytochrome C. So, the block of cyanide will stop the production of ATP because oxygen's inability to receive the electron, so that oxygen cannot use to split into water. Thus, the electrons in intermembrane space could not follow the gradient concentration through ATP synthase for ATP synthesis from ADP and inorganic phosphate. ATP played the important role for all living cells, which is to transport and store energy and use in active transport, muscle construction, synthesis of macromolecule, and cell division. Cyanide is a hazardous substance that can be lethal. Historically, hydrogen cyanide were used as a chemical weapon in the war. So, in fact, cyanide has been used as a suicide pill that are called L pill during World War II. This is because they want to avoid from being captured alive by British and American spies. However, cyanide is commonly found in low concentration in nature and in products we eat and use. Furthermore, eating food or drinking water that contains cyanide may cause health effects. Yes. So cyanide is very fast absorbed into skin and enter the bloodstream. It also acts as an irreversible enzyme inhibitor that inhibit cytochrome C oxidase from doing its job. Cyanide can be changed into thiocyanide and excreted in urine. The cells was prevented by cyanide, and in large dose, the oxygen could not be used. Thus, the victim become weak and will eventually die. Okay, let's continue question 4. Given what you know about cyanide poisoning, do you think that giving a person oxygen would be an effective treatment? Why or why not? So, generally, cyanide binds to the cytochrome C oxidase complex 4 and produces a hypotoxic anosmia in tissues. It inhibits electron transport chain in order to synthesis of ATP. The tissues were unable to use the oxygen and were suffocated. According to Hansen, the victims with cyanide toxicity will show an abnormal heart rate and raise the blood pressure. This leads to cellular hypoxia. However, a high tension of oxygen can reduce shortness of breath. The suitable and effective antidote therapy should be applied, and hyperbaric oxygen specialists should be consulted. In addition, giving a person oxygen would be not an effective treatment. It will impact the use of oxygen. Generally, hydroxycobalamin is used to treat the victim or patient in cyanide poisoning, but hydroxycobalamin includes cyanide. Consequently, it will increase the concentration of cyanide in tissue cell, then bind the cytochrome C and prevent the oxygen from use in cells. According to Hanley and Murphy-Level, cyanide poisoning that has been treated with hyperbaric oxygen therapy have survived, and 92% were reported to have a good condition. Besides that, access to hyperbaric oxygen treatment, as well as rapid administration of hydroxycobalamin, will improve survivability and decrease the development of delayed neurologic sequelae. So, for the conclusion, in a nutshell, cyanide is deadly chemical and it acts very fast to kill within a few minutes. Cyanide easily absorbs through the skin and distributes to the cells. Moreover, cyanide binds to the cytochrome C and inhibits complex 4 to pass the electron to the final electron acceptor, which is the oxygen in the mitochondria. Thus, the case have shown that cyanide is the toxic chemical is the main factor that all the victims deaths in Chicago because had been poisoned by cyanide. Thank you. So this is my reference. You can refer. So that's all from me. Thank you.